Nearly 150 years ago, a question plagued neuroscientists. Is the central nervous system syncytial or not? This was a pitched battle between the two godfathers of neuroscience. Santiago Ramon y Cajal believed that the nervous system is made up of individual cells, whereas Camilo Golgi believed that it is, indeed, syncytial. What does that word even mean? Picture this. You've got a bunch of cells, and they're all doing their own thing, but then they decide to ditch their individuality and join forces, forming one massive supercell. That, my friends, is what we call a syncytium. It is like a cellular Voltron, ready to defend the universe. Back in the late 1800s, some scientists argued that the central nervous system, which includes a brain and spinal cord, is indeed syncytial. They believe that neurons, the electrical messengers of our body, connect in such a way that they share cytoplasmic bridges, allowing them to exchange information and create a synchronized network like a chorus line of dancers. This was known as the reticular theory of brain organization. There was another group of scientists, most prominent of which was Ramon y Cajal, who argued that the central nervous system is not syncytial at all. According to them, each neuron maintains its own individuality. They believed that information transfer between neurons happens at the synapses, those tiny gaps where the magic of communication takes place in the brain. It is like a relay race, where the baton of information is passed from one neuron to the next, processing information in a way that results in complex behavior. This was known as the neural theory of brain organization. Ironically, Ramon y Cajal used a neuron staining method developed by Golgi to show definitively that the central nervous system is indeed made up of individual neurons that communicate via synapses. And in 1906, Ramon y Cajal was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine for his discoveries. But in biology, there's almost always extraordinary exceptions to the rule, and it turns out the neural theory of brain organization does not apply to all animals. A recent paper in Science by Burkhardt and colleagues showed that a group of animals known as ctenophores, also known as comb jellies, have a portion of their nervous system organized as a syncytium. Let's talk a little bit about ctenophores. While they look like jellyfish, they are different in some very important ways. Jellyfish eat by sucking things into a hole, digesting it, and then excreting it out the same hole. I know, pretty gross. Ctenophores, on the other hand, have two holes, one for eating and another for pooping. Most ctenophores have 8 rows of comb-like bands, and in fact, the name ctenophore is Greek for comb-bearing. There are only around 150 species of ctenophores described so far, but there are probably many more since we know so little about the deep ocean. But one thing both jellyfish and ctenophores have in common is that they both lack proper brains and instead have what's called a neural net, a fascinating neural system that allows these remarkable creatures to sense and react to their environment without central control centers. Located throughout their bell-shaped bodies, neural networks enable these animals to coordinate movements, navigate, and respond to stimuli. But it turns out that even the nervous system of ctenophores is different not just from jellyfish, but all other groups of animals with neurons. This new paper shows that the ctenophore species, Nimiopsis ladii, has a subset of neurons that are in fact one giant cell with a continuous membrane. Like other syncytium systems, such as the placenta in some groups of mammals, the comb jelly neural syncytium is made of several neurons that were once independent but then joined forces. This means that this supercell also has some weird properties, such as multiple nuclei. Now, it turns out that not every neuron in the comb jelly nervous system is combined. There are other neurons that are independent neurons that apparently control aspects of activity in the syncytium neural net, as well as other parts of the comb jelly, such as the beating of the comb robe. But there are so many odd things about the ctenophore nervous system that these authors suggest that, at the very least, some fundamental aspects of their nervous system may have evolved independently from the rest of the animals that have nervous systems, including all of the bilateral animals. So, while the last 100 years of neuroscience has clearly proven that Ramón y Cajal was correct on the whole, we need to remember that life is full of mystery and revel in the fact that we still have so much to learn. Sometimes old ideas do have validity, and it's worth learning what our forefathers thought, because sometimes they were more right than we assume. The world of biology is a wild, exhilarating adventure, and the central nervous system, in my opinion, is its enigmatic heart. Syncytial or not, it is a symphony of electrical impulses, a tapestry of interconnected brilliance, and is the reason why we can ponder these mind-bending questions in the first place. So if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll check you later.